joining us virtually on this day. If you guys would please stand, we're going to start with our invocation led by Lieutenant Cody Johns.
Thank you, Mr. President. How's everybody doing today? Good. Amen. How's everybody enjoying the weather? Some of us got some rain, right? I got a little sprinkles, but that's about it. All right, but let's go to the Lord in prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, we just want to take this time and just thank you. To thank you for all your many blessings that you give us every single day. The biggest blessing, all Lord, is getting to spend another day in your just wonderful and beautiful creation. I just want to put a special prayer around everybody that's here and also around the speaker and everything that's being done here through the Irving Las Colinas Rotary. That we can continue to be the hands and feet of you and continue to be that light in the community of here at Irving. And we just give you all the praise and honor and glory. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
All right. Patty Caperton, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Please join me in the pledge to the flag. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Y'all may be seated. Friends, Donna is not here today, and I do not see any visiting Rotarians or guests. We do have Sandra with us, and we're very thankful for that. In fact, before we do anything else, Bobby Harris, do you want to come up? We have a special presentation. Bobby. Not even a clap. There we go. Thank you, Robert.
Last year, the attendance of Neil Davidson was for 60 years. He was here, he's been here for 60 years in Rotary and has had the attendance award for 60 years. Now I have one that I would like to give to Sandra.
60 years in Rotary. That's pretty cool.
I was in junior high school with you.
Okay. Yeah.
We are thankful for his many years of service, and Sandra, we're so thankful for you being with us as well. Friends, as we continue our meeting today, we do want to go ahead and move forward, and we have a very special program for you today, and we're excited to welcome our speaker, but I'm going to allow Terry Oliver, our Vocational Services Chair, as well as our Program Director, to introduce today's speaker.
Thanks. It's good to see all of you today. Our speaker today is Lindsey. And Blake is the Manager of Communications and Outreach with Envision Dallas. He's been totally blind since infancy. Blake offers a unique perspective on all aspects of Envision Dallas, employment, education, and programs. He is a well-known voice talent on Dallas-Fort Worth radio stations such as Kiss FM and K-Love, and manages his own production company, Blaze and Blake Productions, in his free time. He produces nationwide radio and TV commercials. And he specialized audio branding for businesses. He has also authored 3 books: Out of Sight Living, A Sightless Person with Pure Vision, Blind for a Purpose, Turning Life Challenges into Purpose in Life, as well as Overcoming Obstacles and Getting Extraordinary Results. Prior to joining Envision Dallas, Lindsey worked with Zig Ziglar Corporation, the Dallas Area Rapid Transit, and Bank of America. He attended Brookhaven Community College and Farmers Branch, North Dallas. So you guys, let's welcome Blake.
Thank you, Terry, and thank you, Bobby, for getting me up here. How's everybody doing today?
All right.
Well, it's not every day that you get to hear your speaker be able to spell Mississippi with no eyes. You sound like a good-looking crowd. I can't see you, but you sound great today. And I'm just really excited and grateful to be here. And I'm soon going to be a Rotarian. I'm going to join the E Club. Linda Elliott's been a good friend of mine for a long time. She's past governor of your district. And Linda has talked me into taking time, and it's a real pleasure. I get to be a Rotarian very soon, and I'm excited. When I was a young guy, I used to love it when people would ask me what it's like to be totally blind. And I would always respond, well, I don't mind being blind. I just don't like being out of focus every day. You know? And it kind of tough with that, but my wife and I decided to resolve that around 20 years ago. We got a Ford Focus so that I could be in focus about every day. And then 11 years ago, we had to update that, so we got a new Focus. But my concern now is that they don't make them anymore. So what am I going to do with this thing where he's at? I got to get to know a good mechanic, that's for sure. But I love being in focus. I want us to laser focus, if you will, on gratitude, on being grateful. And my eyes were taken out by cancer. I'll tell you the story in a few moments. But really, I wake up with an attitude of gratitude every morning that sets my day the right way. And I thank God for a great day to be alive, of course, because cancer could have taken my life and didn't. It only took my sight. But other than that, I'm thankful for my job. I'm thankful for that cup of coffee that I enjoy in the morning. Something that seems small to some people, but it's really not. There's nothing we should take for granted. And we should count our blessings in the morning, because what happens is not only does it put you in the right mindset, but we never know, do we, what challenges are going to come from day to day. And we never know exactly what's going to happen. And some of the more serious challenges, I don't know about you, but in my life, I usually find a resolution. I get a healing, or, I learn a life lesson. A lot of times you get all 3 of them, like my parents did. My mom and dad were 25 and 6 years old when I was born. And they had their master's degree, and they had a family going already. My older brother is 15 months older than I am. And Brad had all of his 5 senses. In fact, Brad's even got common sense today. I'm real proud. Come a long way. But I'm still working on mine. I'm sure he'd tell you that. But it was great growing up with a good family like that. And about 9 months into my life, Mom and Dad noticed that my sight was diminishing. They could tell that during feeding times, especially because they knew what a great appetite I had. Boy, what a lunch today. Wasn't that something? Good stuff there. It's the best meal I'm going to have all day. But, they about 9 months in, they noticed that I was a little slow in my reactions when I opened up my mouth to eat and that kind of thing. But my eyes didn't look healthy either. And so they took me to a variety of doctors, and thankfully finally got to the right panel of doctors that really knew their stuff. And they said, Blake's got retinoblastoma. Sounds kind of like dynamite, but it's cancer, and they had to respond very quickly. So Mom and Dad were in a gut-wrenching decision there to save my life by taking my eyes out. And each one of them were willing to give one of their eyes to me. They asked if that was going to be possible. I learned that later in life, and it blessed me, even though it was impossible, for them to be able to do that. They did check into it, and each one of them wanted to make an equal contribution in my life and bring me my sight that way. I think it's incredible. That's how we should all be as givers. But boy, that's taking it to a different level, isn't it? And so doctors were able to remove all of my cancer. And I'm thankful about that every day. And Mom and Dad taught me right from wrong. They weren't afraid to paddle me when I needed that. And just like good parents. And They really never let blindness be a factor of it, and I couldn't see, but they enabled me to get a lot out of life and live my life to the fullest every day. And when I was 5, they made the decision, which I'm grateful for today, to go to kindergarten at the Indiana School for the Blind, where I got to learn about Louis Braille. You talk about a guy who turns lemons into lemonade. This guy went blind when he was 3 years old, accidentally poking himself in the eye in his dad's leather workshop. It was probably one of those belt notch pokers. Got a hold of that bad boy and made a difference in his eye there in a bad way. And the infection back in 1809 just spread right to his other eye. There's nothing you can really do to stop it. Louis decided when he was 6 or 7, I'm tired of not being able to read and write like my friends are who are my age. But Louis decided at age 12, he was a sharp guy. He had a good brain, and it made up for his loss of sight all right, because he's not going to be the solution here. I'm going to come up, and you can see this. I'm not looking at it today because I know what I'm going to say, but that's my Braille, and I use that every day because Louis Braille took that same thing that poked him in the eye, and Louis was able to really make hay with that by making a Braille alphabet. Saying, I could just hear him now, Dad, can I have that poker again? I'm going to be really careful with it this time. And he made the Braille alphabet. And so Louis has inspired me along the way as I think about Louis Braille and turning those lemons right on the to lemonade. But it's been an interesting life for me. I've gotten to be a banker and a DJ on the radio for many years. But I really started out my day with gratitude, because so often it's easy to reflect on what's not going well in our lives. And when you think about it, I kind of make up a number on this, but I'd say in my life, it's about an 80-20 ratio, 80% good, 20% bad. And I still have to train my mind not to focus on the negativity in my life. I get up every morning again and crank up my day with that attitude of gratitude. It sets me up for success on what my mom and dad had to go through, kind of a devastating challenge that they went through. But that's how we overcome our obstacles. I've gotten to skydive before. You'll be able to see that by going to my website. But that's been a real eye-opener that Rotarians pay for. And I like to boast about Rotarians for this reason. The Downtown Rotary in Dallas decided to have me speak at Camp Enterprise a couple of times. And 1 year, I guess it's 2010, they said, Blake, what do you want to do? We know you've ridden a motorcycle on country roads before, which I had. I told them about some of my adventures. And so one young lady said, what's next? What do you want to do? And I somehow blurted out skydive. I don't even know why I said it, but it came out. And on the way home, I got to thinking about that. And I thought, I wonder why I said that. I guess I'd like to do that. It wasn't anything that I didn't want to do in my life, but it really wasn't a priority. But a couple of weeks later, you might know who Charles Downen is. He's a longtime Rotarian. And Charles called and said, Blake, we set up your skydive. Can you go, this Saturday or next Saturday? Or, he's narrowing it down. And I said, wow, I said, that was really a quick response. I told him I'd like to go, but I, again, was thinking in my mind, I'm not sure why I said it, but I got happier about it every day. I started really thinking about it. And I thought, I'm going to get a video of this. And so I got my videographers together and I said, let's make a good video here so that I can really inspire, especially school students, about not only overcoming obstacles and getting extraordinary results, which is the title of my most recent book, but it's all about hopping over those hurdles, by diving into your challenges, diving out of that plane and diving into those challenges. One of the best times of my life. It was 30 degrees cooler up there. When you go up to 13,500 feet like I got to, it was 88 on the ground, but it was 58 up there on October 9th of 2010. And it was a great day to be alive because the wind was only doing 5 to 8 miles an hour. It's kind of unusual in the North Texas area for it to be going nice and slow like that. But it was just an awesome day that God gave me to be able to skydive. And my friend Glenn Martin did most of the videoing, and he passed away 8.5 years ago. And I thought, I hope that when I hear his interview, because he interviewed me, he was a fellow broadcaster as well, and a good friend of mine. But I thought, is it going to really discourage me to hear his voice? And not only has it not discouraged me, but I never will forget that day that we bonded even more and more together, driving up to White Rock, Texas, talking about the meaning of our life, and him watching me skydive and being able to video that. But it was really one of the best experiences that ever happened to me. It helped me to really see life in a different way. It's funny, I paid all my bills early. I told my wife, I said, I'm paying all my bills early, so don't worry about anything. If something happens. And I found myself a little apologetic to some people that I felt like I might have wronged in the past and asked for their forgiveness. And it was kind of a purging experience for me in a way, and thinking about my life. And so every day since then, I've really tried very much to be in touch with people and to be mindful of what I say and do. And of course, the older you get, the better it gets, because we seem to have more control of maturity, most of us do. And so it's been a good experience being able to reflect on that, because it helped shape me up, and it really helped me to dive into those challenges. And that's what I want you to do. And I also don't want you to feel sorry that I'm blind, or what my parents went through. But I really want you to focus on the fact that we are equipped to be able to handle challenges. One of my first leadership stories I want to tell you real quick before I tell you about the wonderful organization I get to work with called Envision Dallas. I want to talk about them a little for sure. But when I was 7 years old, I received for my birthday that year a bicycle. And I was so excited. It had training wheels on it, but I knew that they would come off pretty quickly. So I got on that bike and started riding around, and Mom and Dad had put a little battery-powered motor on it for me, so I could putt around and make a lot of noise. People who were blind, we love to make noise. And so I started riding up and down the driveway on that and into the yard. And that spring, I remember I felt very confident because I was riding on the two wheels actually, and not really needing the training wheels. So I asked Dad to take those off. He said, "Sure thing, son, I'm going to do that for you." And he was glad to do that. And then we got in the yard, and Mom and Dad got on each side of me in case I slipped and was wavering from side to side. And they weren't touching me. They were just there standing by like good parents, ready to catch me if I fell. And I went across the yard and had the best time of my life there at that point in time. I think it was one of the best times. I shouldn't say the best, but it was right up there, near the top. And I felt so good riding on those two wheels, and got on the driveway and did the same thing. And then my dad one day, when I was just about 9 years old, I was riding up and down the driveway, and he noticed that, and he came out, and we had bought a tandem as well for my 9th birthday. We bought a tandem, and Dad and I did a lot of riding around in that so that we could take longer rides. And so that's why it surprised me when Dad said, "Blake, why don't you put your kickstand down for a moment, because I'm gonna talk to you just right now, and I want you to stay on your bike, and you're gonna follow me on my bike. Instead of getting on the tandem in your comfort zone, I want you to follow me." This is a great leadership story, because Dad got on his bike, and I was a little nervous at first, of course. I'd never done this before, and I was very confident on that bike. I mean, I knew that I had my balance, and I knew that I could hear Dad. He said, "Now I'm gonna talk to you, but when I'm not," he said, I'm gonna bend my chain guard just a little bit. So I'm gonna pedal, and you're gonna hear me pedal, because that chain guard's gonna be rubbing a little bit on my chain. And so that was fantastic to be able to have that noise, good audible sound. And he said, "When I'm coasting, I'm gonna talk to you, so you're still gonna be able to line up with me." And we had just an accident, I think one accident at the very top. But Dad said, "You're doing fine. Let's do this again." And I am so glad he did, because before long, he could run over a cup, and I would literally run over the same piece of litter that he just ran over. Now, I'm not encouraging you to litter, but that was a fun time for me. So be able to run over that cup, to hear Dad do that first. And that's what leadership's all about. And in Envision Dallas, we have excellent leadership. They're very compassionate, and they understand that sometimes they need to hear our troubles so that they can relate. And because we've all got hurdles to hop over, and hopping over hurdles with an attitude of gratitude sure helped me a lot. But anyway, compassionate leadership like Dad had. He was very caring, and he was very certain that I'd be able to follow his direction and follow him in a special way. And that's what we did. And 23 years later, they had moved to Marion, and I'm still in Texas. I came up to visit them with my wife, and we had bought them nice 6-speed bikes that Mom and Dad still ride on today. They're in their mid-80s, and they're still riding these bikes and really enjoying them. But several years ago, Dad said, "Blake, let's do what we used to do 23 years ago. Let's get back on those bikes." And I thought, "Oh boy, I'm not as liberal as I used to be. I don't know about you." But I didn't say anything. I went ahead and hopped on that bike, and I thought, what an opportunity to have a father-son bonding time and do that again. And before long, Dad was talking to me and telling me, "Just veer to your right just a little bit. There's somebody coming up on us here." And a lady in a nice loud voice said, "Wow, you're doing well." She could tell that I was blind because my dad's directions, and I was following him. And she thought, what a fantastic opportunity here. And she was a Sunday school teacher, found out a couple of weeks later through a conversation with my mother. And Dorothy Mack was going through some difficult times at that time. And that inspired her so much to see that kind of effective leadership. And so she got on, the next day, she was a Sunday school teacher, and said, I'm gonna teach about, that's how God needs to lead us. That's how we need to, enable him to lead us. And I thought that's really great when we can take an earthly story with a regular dad and really equate it that way. But that's really what great leadership is all about. And I'm glad to be able to tell you that story, because I have several that are true life stories. We've all got these stories that we need to tell, and that equipped us and made us really believe in good leadership in my case. And I've had several experiences since then to identify with the same. But every day, we're going to face challenges, and it's how we deal with our attitude and our leadership, and be able to be a good follower and a good leader. Both, it takes both. To be a good leader in my case has been becoming a good listener. Bank of America, I did customer service. I thought I was a good listener because I'm blind. I thought, well, of course I'm a good listener. That's what I got to do. But then I got to the bank, and there was a couple of times there initially where I didn't listen as much as I should have. And so I learned very, very quickly to be a very good listener. And so Bank of America taught me to do that. And listening has helped me in being able to lead better and being able to follow direction better as well. But at Envision Dallas, I don't know if you've heard of former Dallas Lighthouse of the Blind. I bet you have. And if you talk to your great grandparents, if they're from Dallas area, even your grandparents, they might tell you that Dallas Lighthouse of the Blind used to deliver goods to their door that we would actually make in our factories. We made a lot of stuff, anything from brooms to dustpans, mops, clocks, fly swatters, I even heard. So I wasn't around back in those days. I came in 2009, and I had a broadcast background and all kinds of things going on, but I thought, I'm very passionate about what these guys are doing. This is the transformation place. I talked to a lot of folks who lost their sight later in life, and they were there with employment. A lot of them had received services prior to that employment that enabled them to get a grasp on orientation mobility, on computer competencies, to be able to use the computer well. And they learned all this at the former Dallas Lighthouse of the Blind, which is now Envision Dallas. 5 years ago, we were acquired by some friends of mine at Wichita, Kansas, and Envision was doing a tremendous job. And so when they took us, they were able to really take us to the next level. And I work with this great guy, David Stupay. He's my boss. And David and I get along really well. He's been with us for 3.5 years. He's our managing director. And David has a lot of great ideas. And he's got his finger on the pulse of the business. One of the best young business leaders that I've ever met. For his age, he's got 3 wonderful kids. He and his wife, Vanessa, do a good job with parenting. And so they remind me of my parents when they were younger and how they were. That's kind of how David is. And so he's a great leader. And I want you to come by Envision Dallas, because you're going to see a lot of things. You'll see a lot of smiles and faces because of the employment and the camaraderie. It's an incredible place. We've got around 125 people who are blind that work at Envision Dallas. Some of them are legally blind, some of them are totally blind. And we have a guy, I like to call him MacGyver. Remember that show in the 80s? This guy could invent everything. Well, we got us a MacGyver. His name's Luis Vargas. And Luis is a wonderful engineer, and he envisions what it's like to be blind sometimes by closing his eyes as he creates these guards. He calls them jigs, and he puts them on sewing machines. And a lot of these machines, you can take your hand off at a heartbeat, and he's able to really modify them for accuracy and for safety and efficiency. And it really makes our jobs a lot more safe. But then we also go the extra mile in making sure that everybody really pays attention to safety. We've had less first aid situations than ever in the 14 years that I've been there. It's really improved more and more. And so Luis is making a difference, and then we teach safety, and we're very, very good at that. And so you'll enjoy seeing that, but you'll enjoy seeing people take computer lessons. Our technology trainers are blind or visually impaired, which is very relatable. We can't say, well, no wonder you can do it. You can see, that doesn't ever come up, because our guys are blind who teach, and they're either legally or totally blind, and very relatable. And they use the equipment every day. So they're able to speak to it, show it, and they're state approved by the state of Texas. And so that puts them in a good situation. We got a good orientation mobility instructor. Kayla Torres does a wonderful job, been with us now for a while. I really like her. It reminds me of my O&M lessons, and it really gives you freedom and enables you to cross busy stoplights by focusing and listening to traffic. I like that word, focus, you know me. And so we just enjoy a lot having a good orientation mobility instructor. We've got an occupational therapist who teaches low vision. A lot of older clients really need some help with color coordination, and she goes into their home along with serving our seniors person. Both of them take turns going and doing assessments to find out what people's exact needs are so that we can specify our programs, customize them for their needs. So it's a great place to be, Envision Dallas is, and I want you to come by and set up a tour with me. What I brought with me today is several books, and the proceeds, 100% of the proceeds go to Envision Dallas for every book. And I partnered with him for that reason. I thought, I don't want to make a dime off this, but I want to write a book titled Overcoming Obstacles and Getting Extraordinary Results Like We All Can. And I identified with my 10 favorite life learning lesson type stories and put some good learning points. My dad helped me to summarize each chapter. I wrote the stories. My dad's been an educator for 62 years. And he and mom will be married 62 years on August 20th. And great leader. My mom is a wonderful mom. And so I got really fortunate. Not everybody's got great parents, but I try to become a mentor to a lot of people. And I try to kind of be their parent kind of vicariously and guiding them. And I've gotten to talk to a lot of people who are blind or young that I've been able to really help out over the last 14 years that I've been with Envision Dallas. I'll get phone calls. I'll be able to encourage people. They come over to Envision, they hear the camaraderie. They're like, wow, my life didn't have to be over at all. And so they get in there. That's why I'm excited that when donors make contributions to us, that doesn't go in my pocket because we're actually, we're paid for by all the contracts that we get. We've even got a call center. Upstairs, we've got a call center and several contracts. And so we've got some really good representatives that use job access with speech called JAWS. That's a screen reader. And it speaks everything I type in, and you can go to websites, and as long as there's text, you can go around and do Google searches and everything be independent. And so our call center is tremendous. And then we've got these manufacturing contracts that you're going to enjoy seeing. Eyeglass cases, we make binders, certificate holders for diplomas, high school, junior high schools, and universities. Just got a really good contract on that. And we're excited to be making these trousers that are combat army trousers, and they're fire resistant. So we got a contract on that, and there are several things that we do. You're going to really be impressed with that when you come and visit, and to see everybody working hard and getting along with each other. And it's a big happy family. And we're getting ready to move to Farmers Branch in 11 months or thereabout. And we're going to be at 635 and 35. 190 is nearby. It's right there at Valley View and Luna, right by the water tower in Farmers Branch. So we're going to be a lot closer to Irving, Las Colinas here, about 15 miles closer to you. And you're really going to like that huge place. We needed the space. It's really we're going to triple our impact. We hope that in the next 3 years, we're going to do our very best to hire 200 people more who are blind and visually impaired. We're going to increase our team by that much. And that's going to really be amazing because we got 125 and we plan to get to about 325 here in the next few years. And that's going to be something. I'm looking for people. I've been recruiting people now, and I'm at the end of my list. And so if you know anybody who's blind, send it my way, not only for employment, but for a friend. And we love to show them what we do. Does anybody have any questions about what it's like to be blind? I mean, I'll answer any question. Nothing is silly at all. And then anything about Envision Dallas, former Lighthouse for the Blind that you'd like to know.
I want to know how you met your wife.
I met my wife. Boy, that's a good question. She tells this story better than me. But Jennifer wrote me a letter when I was working at 106.1 Kiss FM here in Dallas. And it was in 2000. I never will forget. I got this letter on a Sunday, July of 2000. And my friend Heather read it to me. And I said, Heather, I want you to help me write her back. I said, I know that handwriting's gonna be feminine. That's okay. I'm not expecting you to write like a guy, sloppy. Anyway, she helped me out. And Heather was delighted when I started telling her what to write back to Jennifer. It was a really cool letter, thoughtful. And I appreciated the fact that she didn't just pick up the phone, but she took the effort and wrote me a really nice keepsake letter. I still got it today. And we've had a good over 20-year marriage. But anyway, I wrote her back. She got my letter. And I said, I'm working at Bank of America full time. And I'm doing the evening shift because it's really a helpful shift. It pays a little bit more. And we get a lot of calls at night, dinner time when people can't call during the daytime, they're at work. And so that was a great shift for me to plug into, to make a little more money and to be helpful. And one night I got home and I said, you're welcome to call me. I gave her my number. So a couple of weeks later, Jennifer gives me that call. And she had good psychology because she waited a week or two. She didn't come right at me at all. But she waited, I guess, it was a week. And I got home one night and I heard the phone ringing as I was entering my apartment. I thought, oh, I bet that's Jennifer because it was a late call. You know, it's about 11 o'clock and I had just gotten home. And at that time, I think I was working at Irving, Las Colinas. In fact, it's where one of our call centers worked for a while. So got in and we had a good discussion, got to know each other. My friend Jason took me over to her home and I said, Jason, you're welcome to tag along. But Jennifer didn't have a vehicle at that time. And so he got us together and we went out to Chili's and had ice cream and Brahms for dessert, had some great conversation. And I thought, I'm a lot older than Jennifer. And she, made mention in her letter that she was 22 and I knew that I was going to be turning 36 at that time. And I thought, uh-oh, I'm kind of setting myself up for failure here, maybe. But Jennifer said, Blake, are you going to ask me out again? And I thought, wow, I sure am. She just kind of had to give me a little nudge there. And we became really good friends, started going to church together. And Jennifer and I have really bonded, especially over the last 20 plus years of marriage. Don't have any kids. Wish I did be a late time to start for me, as you can tell. But at that time, Jennifer had worked at U.S. Toys and Constructive Playthings, primarily selling to schools and daycares, preschools, that kind of thing. And she did a good job for 15 and a half years there, but she was around kids all day long. Hearing those crybabies that couldn't get their toy. But we love our nieces and nephews. We are having the time of our life right now around kids. And I kind of regret, that we don't have one of our own. But I love spoiling kids and getting to introduce them to blindness. It's always a fun thing for me, actually, because most kids are very receptive to it when they realize what all I can do, which is what we need to focus on, again, not just our challenges, but our victories. And so they see me getting around and that I'm happy and I've got a full-time job. And even at the 3-year-old level, they get it. They know what I need and what I can do, can't do. And it's a pretty neat experience. Sorry for that long answer, but Jennifer and I are doing well. We really love life together.
Got time for one more quick question. John, are you gonna ask her silly one?
You went skydiving?
I did go skydiving.
Might be a Q&A. Think about.
It
Is
was
this your
such a
city
good
phone?
time,
No, just your personal
I was a
phone.
little nervous at first, as I mentioned to you, but as I got out
Yeah, I'm just
there,
trying to see if you have Zoom separately
I
like
actually
we
went
did.
to White Right.
I
And I
should.
experienced what it was going to be like. We kind of simulated the experience as far as how to hold my body. And it's kind of neat because it doesn't feel like you're jumping off of a high dive. How you feel that little queasy just a tad. It wasn't like that at all because your belly is actually facing the ground and you're going down and you really don't pick up any speed. Now I thought that was really interesting as you're hitting the air doing about 140 already, from the plane. And 120 to 140 is how fast you go when you're free falling. So about 60 seconds of that free falling. And then when my parachute opened up, I thought, oh, good. I was excited about it, but I had not thought about the parachute that whole 60 seconds. It occurred to me when it opened up. It was so much fun that I really wasn't thinking about it. But when it opened up, of course, I was glad. Everything's working. And so we scooted down that extra 3,500 feet together. Ernie Long and I did. And Ernie was great with the strings. He was able to get it to turn around real fast, like a tilty world at the state fair, or being able to go back and forth. He can do all kinds of things with it. I was really amazed by that, just with the gravity and everything that we worked with, with those strings. And so he said, I'm going to count 3, 2, 1 as we're gliding in. And since the winds are just barely going today, you're really going to enjoy this. And I sure did. We just kind of slid in on our fannies. We had our slickies on that day with the outfit. And it was really fun. And I didn't bust my tailbone. I thought, well, I hope it's not a hard, hit. It wasn't. And it was just really a fun thing hearing everybody applaud, seeing the blind guy drop out of the air. I think it was everybody enjoyed that. But it's been a pleasure talking with all of y'all today. Thank you so much for having me. Please call me if you want to take a tour of Envision Dallas. I want to take you through. You're going to be pleased that you came through. It's going to inspire you. I brought lots of books today that I signed in Braille if you'd like it. And you can give them away. There are lots of pictures. I can't see the photos, but they're in there. And had a good time with you today. Thank you very much.
All right, Blake, we sure appreciate you. You had wonderful words about leadership, and I love that you included that story about skydiving, because I did that as well and had the time of my life. I kind of wish I could have been in free fall for longer, because it felt like flying. It was pretty cool. So scariest part is getting to the door to go out of the plane. After that, it's great. So we appreciate you, and we're glad you were here. That was a great speech and presentation that you gave us. And, we hope to stay in touch with you and get to see Envision Dallas. So God bless you, brother. Friends, as we conclude our meeting today, do we have anything for the good of the club? Kathy Howard.
Flags are going to go out early because the kids are going to camp next week. So they'll be putting out Flag Day flags this Saturday and Sunday, because I think they leave on Sunday to go to their camp for a whole week, and then they're not gonna pick them up until next weekend. So these flags are gonna really be used, because we just heard that some of the flags are still out from Memorial Day, which of course they weren't supposed to. And our staff ladies did great, as usual. And I never have to worry about Robert. He's always on time and everything. I really appreciate that. And Shane, you all did a good job.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And everybody that helped, we really appreciate it. How's the Salvation Army look?
Beautiful.
Yes,
Oh, isn't that great? We have 9 flags over there,
Yeah.
something like that.
that sounds right. Yes.
And it really went well for Memorial Day, and we're looking forward to Flag Day, and we will see all of you at work.
Excellent. Thank you, Kathy. Any other announcements? For our board members, we do have a very brief, just two quick items to discuss. Following this will be my last board meeting, not that I'm counting. A little bit excited about that. So we will meet out in the hallway, so if you could make your way there sooner rather than later, we appreciate that. Several of us that are here and can stay have limited time that we can stay, so we're gonna keep that meeting moving. Friends, at this time, I invite you to please stand. I pray that you will be with us next week. We've got another great meeting scheduled for you guys, so we'll see you same bad place, same bad time. Join us again next week. And friends, as we conclude today, we will be doing our 4-way test. And I'm going to invite Val Bosak to lead us in our 4-way test.
Please join me in the 4-way test of the things we think, say, or do. First,
Is it the truth?
second,
Is it fair to all concerned?
third,
Will it build goodwill and better friendships?
fourth,
Will it be beneficial to all concerned? And may the Lord bless and keep you until we meet again.